First of all, let's just start with an unusual transfer today. People moving from rebel-held ground to return to government territory. We haven't heard about that much before.
No, we haven't, Jonathan. And basically, if you can picture it geographically, this country is split in two from east to west. So certainly when the uprising began in the early part of this year, there were people who were visiting either Benghazi or Misrata or visiting Tripoli, and then were cut off from their friends and families because of that front line. We talk about civilians here. So a few days ago, the International Committee for the Red Cross went from Tripoli to Benghazi, dropping off people in rebel-held territory, and then they came back today. We were at that scene. Only about 100 people in that large ferry from Greece arrived at Tripoli, people coming off, certainly scenes of joy when they met their loved ones. Some of them had been away from their family for several months, Jonathan. And certainly it points to the efforts that have to be done by humanitarian agencies to even get people to move in this country. I spoke to one spokesman who said, you know, while this is a small step, it's an important step in terms of kind of getting people moving and sort of opening up Libya a little bit, as it were. Jonathan?
And it really underscores that Libya is a country cut into two. Today in Pretoria, a gathering of the international effort to try and find some kind of peace process for Libya. Is there any optimism that there is some opening now that wasn't available when the effort started back in March?
Well, time might be something to be optimistic about, in that both sides are seeing that in terms of the way the conflict is working, there isn't really any major movement in the east, at least. It's really effectively at a stalemate. And the problem is, you did mention the rebels are saying they are open to talks with the regime indirectly. But this has happened for some time, and the regime has said even that they are open to talks. They're talking past each other at this point. One side says absolutely no way that Gaddafi can stay, and that's the rebels. And the other side being the government saying there's absolutely no way he can go. So Jacob Zuma, the president of South Africa, and some other African leaders at that meeting of the Libyan contract group, or the Libyan group of African Union states in Pretoria, he's saying that he is concerned that while South Africa voted for the UN resolution for NATO, that this has become in some ways an assassination attempt or even a regime change operation. So certainly some grumblings from down south in the rest of Africa. The big meeting is coming at the end of the month, the African Union meeting, and I suspect that's the one that Muammar Gaddafi will not be going to, as you mentioned.